Private don't give a fuck, reporting post number 6, all secure at this time, sir. Yeah, that's right. Merry Christmas, everybody. And pull up a chair. Let me tell you about the first Christmas I spent away from home. And I'm gonna grab me a chair too while we're at it. All right, everybody, roll up your window. Keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle. Fasten your safety belt. We are about to jump into the Wayback Machine. All right, so 1978, Keflavik, Iceland, Marine Corps barracks duty, post number 6. My very first night. My very first Christmas away from home. And up there when we were standing barracks duty, we would do 6 hours on, 6 hours off, 6 hours on, 6 hours off, a day off, a day of training, and then back to the same old thing, unless it fell on a weekend. And my very first Christmas, I'm sitting out there on post number 6. There's actually an ammo dump. Pretty cool post, actually. Had these big, giant, like Quonset hut looking bunkers, but they were, you know, covered with sod and earth, and who knows how thick they were. I never went inside one. But they stored all our weapons, our food, you know, rations, ammo, high-powered recoilless rifles, all the good stuff that we needed to, in theory, defend the island against the Ruskies back then. And post number 6, it was a cool post. There was a guard shack there, and for like about 20 minutes out of every half hour, you were in the guard shack, and then you would jump in a truck, which was a really cool truck. It was a military Jeep truck. It was set on a, I don't remember what they're called, as a M something or other transport truck, but it's like a pickup truck set on a 1-ton chassis, full-time 4-wheel drive. You had like 2-wheel high, 2-wheel low, 4-wheel high, 4-wheel low, and neutral on the transfer case. That was it. And so you'd do a roving patrol around the ammo dump and make sure everything was all right, and then you'd come back and you'd sit there and stare out the window for another 20 minutes. And so, like I said, it's my first Christmas away from home. I just had turned 18. 2 weeks before Christmas, I turned 18. Yeah, do the math. That's December 8th. And so I'm sitting there, I'm really kind of just moping, because I know there's no chance in hell Santa Claus is going to stop into the barracks and leave me a little love. And a lot of other things were kind of coming crashing down on me. You know, you finally realize you're fucking nobody. You're just another shithead. And among other things. So I'm sitting there moping, and all of a sudden I see some headlights off in the distance. And this particular compound was kind of off in the middle of nowhere, so you had a good field of fire, field of vision, whatever you want to call it. And so I see some headlights coming down, and oh, before I forget, to add to the insult, it was snowing, and it was snowing like silver dollars. It was probably 30 degrees or so just after dark. Of course, in Iceland, just after dark could be like 3:30, but it was dark, and it was snowing, and you know, I was really starting to mope, because it was like, I'm from Minnesota originally, and this was like a picture perfect Christmas Eve snow. You couldn't have asked for a better snowstorm. Not real heavy, not light, just nice big snowflakes coming down and blanketing everything. And it was really beautiful, but for me at the moment it was kind of depressing. So I see these lights, and the first thing I'm thinking of, fuck, it's Corporal Smack Dick and Sergeant Kiss Ass. And their little games was, they would try to sneak up on people on post and catch you sleeping or playing pocket pool or freaking playing pinochle or whatever, solitaire. You know, we didn't have the internet back then, so you couldn't surf porn. And so that was my first thought. And they were notorious for, one of them would jump out of the truck, and then one would come up and you'd do your deal, report secure and all that stupid shit, and then they would leave. And they were always so stupid, like you couldn't see it. Like they'd go down the road a little ways and cut the lights out, and then the other one would be like jumping over the fence or whatever, trying to get in, and then they'd try to catch you. Well, they only did that to me one time, and it wasn't this time. But the time they did it to me, I saw it coming. I proned that stupid motherfucker. He flipped out. I was like, I won his game, right? Anyways, before I digress off the story. So I'm sitting there moping. The headlights are coming down and they're getting a little closer, and then I see that it's a Mercedes-Benz. And back then, all the taxi drivers drove Mercedes-Benz. They got some kind of government kickback or whatever, and it was like they could buy a really nice car if they used it as a taxi, which when I first got up there, I thought that was actually pretty cool. You'd call for a taxi, and some local guy would pull up in a really nice fucking Mercedes-Benz and take you where you needed to go. Pretty cool. Anyways, so this car comes up, and I'm like, oh man, what the fuck is this? And the car stops at the gate, and there's like a double set of lights, and with the snow coming and stuff, there was almost like a halo. And the door opens up, and the legend of the base commander's daughter immediately came true to me. Out of this Mercedes-Benz comes this woman. Well, she was a girl actually, I don't know. She was probably anywhere from 17 to maybe 20, somewhere in that area. And she gets out, and of course this is in 1978, so she gets out and she's got her big muckluck boots on because we're in Iceland, and she's got her maxi coat on. So for those of you that don't know what that is, that's kind of like almost like a World War II German trench coat, but nice. And then she's got, of course, the period correct long scarf and knitted hat and whatnot. And I guess because she was warm when she got out of the car, there was like just like this halo around her. You know, it wasn't Santa Claus, but it was better. It was like an angel. I couldn't believe this, right? And she gets out. She comes over to the guard shack and introduces herself. Her name was whatever. I don't remember. It was in 1978. But she was the base commander's daughter. And she had a plate of cookies for me. She gives me the cookies and says, Merry Christmas. And there I am, you know, all buffed and stuffed, an 18-year-old young Marine, and I'm just all totally jacked trying to do my fucking duty and shit. And man, I almost fell apart right there on the spot. I mean, this girl, she was like the most beautiful thing I'd seen since I left home. And she's giving me a plate of cookies. And I'm just like, on the outside, I'm trying to act all Marine-like and shit, but man, on the inside, I'm fucking crumbling. I'm like, oh man, she's got to get out of here before this shit happens. And we talked for a second, and then she got back in the car, and poof, off into the fucking blizzard she went. I couldn't fucking believe that. My very first Christmas away from home, I'm out there on a lonely-ass fucking post, snowing to beat the band, just totally being bummed out because I know Santa Claus ain't coming and all this other weird stuff that's going through my head. And all of a sudden, an angel pops out of a Mercedes-Benz and gives me a plate of cookies. And that was in Keflavik, Iceland. That was my first Christmas away from home, 1978. Made it bearable. But yeah, we as Marines, we had all heard that the base commander had a really smoking hot daughter. But of course, fucking Marines, we eat crayons, so we're gonna, you even get near base housing, you were like fucking arrested. You know, we weren't allowed anywhere near normal military people. Marines, we stuck to ourselves. We were so fucked up. We had our own E-club and grill in the barracks. We couldn't drink in our rooms, but we had our own little bar because usually half the fucking barracks was suspended from the E-club anyways, because we'd go over there and we'd beat up the Air Force, and then we'd beat up the fucking Navy, and sometimes we'd fight with the fucking Seabees, and when we weren't fighting with the Seabees had our back, and we're beating up everybody else in the fucking E-club. Good times, just like in the movies, but anyways, I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. I hope you're where you want to be. And if you're where you need to be, I hope you can make the best of it. And whatever it is that you have to be doing at the moment, if you can't be with your family, I appreciate what you're doing. That being said, don't eat too much. Don't forget, wash your hands. And stay scared and tell your fucking governor to eat shit. Because, fuck him. Just fuck him. It's Christmas time. Ain't nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to keep me from my family. Yeah. So with that being said, Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. Happy whatever it is you celebrate this time of year. And if you don't celebrate anything this time of year, I hope you're around some good friends, your family, or whatever is good to you. With that being said, peace out. There ain't no shortcut to this because it's Christmas. We don't do things half-assed. Straight down the main line, no sidetracks. Merry Christmas.